Hi there, Adrian back again with another recap of a podcast. This one was for Mel Robbins. She did a podcast with Carla Harris, and Carla Harris is a well respected senior advisor, been in the game for over like 35 years, and a consultant for Morgan Stanley, and she's been on Wall Street. She's like in her early 60s and still talking about reinvention and how to reinvent yourself. And she is working on, I think, another book. She has a couple books out already. And this one is going to be called, I think, Chapter Me 3.0, something like that, she's working on. And it was a great title because she talks about evolution and not just reinventing yourself. So once you get to the 3.0 version of yourself, that's already a version of yourself that has gone through just living life and all of the work experience that you already have to take you through that evolution and to that next level that you shouldn't be afraid to step into, right? So, with my handy dandy notebook here. So, I am watching these business podcasts with advisors. People have been super successful in business, have these great backgrounds, and doing little short recaps for you. So I'm listening to these hour and a halves or 2 hours so that you don't have to. Um, but if you do want to go back and watch, highly suggest you do when you get a chance. There's tons of information and nuggets, and this one was um, really good. She talked about women, especially getting to that next level one to make some changes in life, but always having that fear and fatigue. And what was crazy was she talked about if you have worked in the from the 80s and 90s, the 2000 and 2010s, that it was probably some of the hardest years for women in business to work, right? You're breaking those, stereotypes and the glass ceiling and the laws changing for, the wage disparities, which still happen, but all of those things were really happening and taking effect. And so she was just saying it was really, really tough during those times. So, yes, you would be fatigued at this point in your life. You would be tired and tired of working. And so, once you get to that glass ceiling that you're trying to bust through to that next level of your career, how you are feeling like once you bust through that ceiling, is it going to be more of this turmoil and toiling and really hard, heavy lifting just to keep your position and where you're at? And she was saying that no, it's not. You've already done the hard work, you've already proven yourself, and breaking through that glass ceiling is as little as a nudge with your shoulder, with your head once you get to the top. And being able to, make the connections and network there for people to just really stand behind you and promote you in rooms that you aren't able to be in. Um, and she was saying, as part of the fatigue, like, yeah, we're tired. The economy weighs on you, world events weigh on you, and just being working all these years, right? Over 20, 30 years, some of us since we were 18 years old, some of us since we were 16 years old. But just grinding like that and just, getting fatigued and being tired. And it was kind of like what I mentioned in my last video, like it's okay to take a break, rest, go the next day. If you need to take two days, take 2 days. But things are going to be there when you get back. And that um she was mentioning that, your time it's on your own time. Stop worrying about what everybody else is doing, what everybody else thinks about you restarting, reinventing, or evolving into this new woman that you're becoming. One of the things she said about fear, uh, which I absolutely loved, was this right here. false evidence of things appearing real. False evidence of things appearing real. So, just these things that we put out in the universe that aren't really true, things about ourselves, that self doubt, that, what if somebody thinks, I don't know what I'm talking about. What if somebody thinks that this product sucks? And you can't please everybody, right? Um, they're never going to buy it. Nobody's going to go for it. I'm not going to find an investor. None of that is even real until it actually happens. So why be afraid of that, even getting ready to go forward? And if you have to stop and start over and try again, that, fair, she said, what did she say? Failure always brings you a gift. And the gift is called experience. And it's true. It's always, you see all of the, the little memes and notes and quotes out there, failing forward, that there's, no such thing as failure, that it's a lesson, it's a life lesson. And it's really a way to look at it like that. Failure doesn't mean game over, right? Once you fail, your life doesn't stop. Things don't end. It happened, and you learn your lesson, you gain that experience, and you move forward and you continue to grow and you don't do it next time, right? Um, a lot of what was happening during this podcast was really surrounded around women and um, a big chunk of it being, tired or being fatigued and um, re entering the workforce. They took two video calls, and both women were either re entering the workforce. One had gotten laid off and hadn't been working and she couldn't find a job and she was 50 years old and, she's leaving this video message and gets completely emotional because she's afraid of what's out there and that she's not going to get chosen or picked, when it comes time to do the interviewing. And Carla gave some amazing feedback for her, as well as for another lady who said that she hasn't worked in 12 years because she took the time off to raise her family. So, how do you deal with that? And before that, um, she worked in nonprofit. And so she just gave some fabulous feedback around surrounding all of that. And um, it was just really, really eye opening, especially right now at this time with, even though you go on sites like Indeed or the job section on LinkedIn, and there's hundreds and hundreds of jobs, but like if you go on LinkedIn, it's insane the amount of people that have already applied to it. So that's discouraging in itself, right? Um, but the fact that there are ways to, either put it on paper or, and change the way that you present yourself to other people, be able to fill in those gaps of not working or switching from a nonprofit to a for-profit business. And the wording that she gave in that was, spectacular. um she also talked about, there was a statistic that came up that Mel talked about, and she was saying 58% of women are experiencing burnout right now, or going through a period of where they are trying to re-enter the workforce. And that is huge. That's more than half of us right now out there trying to, you know, um, regroup, change careers, or just flat out experience burnout. And burnout can come from anything. It's the years and years and years of doing things. It's the years of working in a toxic environment. It's um, not taking the appropriate time and breaks and, self-care. It can be a number of things, but the burnout is real and the statistics are out there and they show, right? She said it goes up even higher to 84% when women are looking to do a career change, um, or a career change or a reinvention, which Carla Harris really put it eloquently, saying that it's more of a evolution than it is a change or a reinvention, right? So you aren't 100% reinventing yourself because it's not like you're leaving those old parts of yourself behind. You're not going to discount all of that education, all of that work experience, and everything that you've done before going forward. You're going to take that with you, but you're going to create it into, you know, something more desirable, something that you can put forward in a different workplace or in your own business, right? Um, another thing she said was change your wording. Stop thinking about it as arriving, right? So we think about getting to a place like, oh, I've gotten to this title or I've gotten to this level, and then there's a stop in the ceiling. Um, she said, start thinking about it as evolving because every experience gives you data about how you are going to keep growing, right? So it just adds more, right? Like I was saying before, every experience, all the data, all the learning, everything goes with you into that new role. So um, this was, I think it was a fairly new podcast out on the Mel Robbins channel. So you can check that out. Her name was Carla Harris, and she has a couple books out already as well. And her advice for how to, you know, make yourself sound or make yourself look when you're going into a new role or talking to people or talking to people during like an interview. She was just quick, man. She was with it. She just, it just rolled off her tongue what to say to these women who were going through these, really heavy changes. Um, and It's definitely one that's worth checking out. There was no real like downtime in it. She was just going, blow for blow with what you should be doing to um to change and move forward and not be stuck. The whole thing was like, if you feel stuck, watch this. And she just talked about a little on if you are in the workplace. And this can apply too if you're not in the workplace. If you are going through business, um, starting a business, right? Like I said, get out and learn. That'll be your goal. Get out and learn. Um, Find somebody to, she said, promote you in your company. Somebody that's going to talk for you, about you, positively about you when you aren't in the room, right? So when you get to that point of you're hearing about somebody leaving, you're hearing about some succession planning, but you aren't necessarily that decision maker, connect with a mentor or connect with somebody, either directly or indirectly, so that they know of your work, right? Oh, yeah, I've worked with, Carolyn before and she did great on this project, or she was, had great customer service, or she always steps up and does XYZ. She volunteers, she does this. Um, but when they get into that room, those people who haven't worked with you, this person can basically vouch for you. So that was huge. That was something that, it's one of those things that kind of like we all know, but we don't do. And then she gave the example of, you don't do that other people are doing that. Um, and, some of those people got in there just by being friends or friendly with other people, right? They don't necessarily belong there because of their previous work experience or their brilliance. They got there because of who they know. And we all know this is a thing, but she was basically saying, stop sitting there with your fingers crossed, hoping that you're going to get in or get an interview or get the job, right? Don't stand on the sidelines of your own life. Is kind of like um how I like to think about it. Don't be on the outside looking in when you want to be in the game, right? So, but in all things, it's baby steps, right? It's baby steps to go talk to somebody you don't know. Sometimes it can be intimidating, right? I feel like, when you look at leaders and bosses and CEOs and, things like that in your organization, I always remember one, God created us all equal. We all bleed blood, red blood, and we all put our pants on one leg at a time, right? So there's nothing to be afraid about. They're human just like you. They have fears just like you. They may hold a higher position, but it's literally just that, a higher position with more pay. If you've done nothing wrong to be intimidated about, then have the conversation or someone in the proximity so that you can get in the room or find out some more information. Um, yeah, and build your community. But in all things, like I always say, give yourself some grace. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some, mental adjustment, but you put one foot in front of the other and keep it going. All right. Until next time, have a great one.